So officially welcome to day 2 of the New Year's Health kind of Resolutions Challenge, series that I'm doing on how to break, not break free, but how to, how to break through and find and really rock your New Year's health goals. And so we are going through 5 different habits. And yesterday we talked about graceful planning. It's here in the group. It's on YouTube. You can watch the replay. Then we're going to talk about today, diet-free eating. And then Wednesday, tomorrow, we're going to talk about joyful movement. And then Thursday, we're going to talk about deep breaths and rest. And Friday, we're going to talk about positive thinking. And so I'm really excited to talk about today's topic because I think I finally coined the term I love to talk about around nutrition and eating, and that is diet-free eating. And so, if you follow me or you've been a part of my community for a while, I am all about like whole foods, and I've done a lot of work with clients around the Whole30 or just women in this group. I actually started off my health coaching business leading people through a free Whole30 challenge. And I've led people through the Whole30s in many ways since. But a lot of people have a lot of thoughts around even they feel like it's very depriving. I mean, I think the Whole30 has a place in our lives and has a lot to teach us, or programs like that. But I think at the end of the day, what we all want, and even what Whole30 is going after, is diet-free eating. We want to eat in such a way that it's not a diet. It's not for short term. It's about really eating healthy and well over the long term. And that across the board, a bunch of different, especially a new wave of kind of whole food diets, there are some common principles that we want to kind of look at. And so I'm not talking to you about doing Whole30 right now. I'm not talking about you doing keto. I'm not talking about doing paleo. I'm not talking about doing intermittent fasting right now. What I'm talking about is what are the things that when you are eating that you can do that will really move you forward in any of your health goals, because at the foundation, what we eat makes up who we are. It makes up our cells, it makes up our body, it helps influence our skin, it helps influence our hair, it helps influences our nails, and so forth. And I've really seen this come to life, particularly in pregnancy, those 9 months, and then I'm nearly 7 months postpartum, just how what I ate, like just thinking about what I ate and how much I drank, particularly water, impacted my child, impacted the growth of my child. And even now, she's drinking my milk. It's like what I eat and how much I drink impacts that nutrition for her. Taking my prenatals and postnatals, I guess at this point, impacts the nutrition for her. And so I think I took it for granted. Relatively, I haven't had a whole lot of health conditions, chronic health conditions. I have gone through my own food freedom journey, have done a lot of work around my body and nutrition, but I think I realized that because of the way that I was taking care of my body the last 7-8 years, it led to a pregnancy that kind of went okay. And it led to just me being able to know what I needed to do when I was pregnant to nourish my body and create a human. But regardless if you're pregnant or not, that's not what I'm trying to say, but it just opened up my eyes that, man, the diet-free eating lifestyle that I followed really supported my body and supported in creating a human. So this stuff works, guys, when we are trying to eat in a way that nourishes our body. That's what nutrition is at the end of the day. It's something that brings life and health and vitality to our body. Okay, so in the group, each day around 7 a.m., and even in the email, I'm sending a little bit of the email, just says this, what we're talking about in the group is where all the written content and the live video is, because the group is just where you can interact a lot more. So that's why I love having Facebook group, but I also love having email because it just notifies you of a lot of things, right? So I'm going to share, I already shared 4. I'm going to talk about those 4 tips even more, but then there's one extra one that I want to talk about. And so the first thing I talk about is focusing on macronutrients. A lot of people talk, what are your macros? Well, I'm not talking about hitting your macros, meaning hitting the amount of, literally to the T of a milligram or gram or ounce that you're trying to hit for a certain purpose. I'm talking about macronutrients itself. Certain foods are categorized into the 3 macronutrients. So we have carbohydrates, we have proteins, and we have fats. All right. And some foods have a mixture of them, but most foods, what we want is like most foods that have that is primarily that thing. So obviously, like say if you eat like beans is actually protein and carb. If you eat a little bit of peanut butter, it's a little bit of protein, a lot of fat, right? But it's mainly, we can mainly categorize it into one category. And if you're curious about a detailed list of what all these macronutrients and macronutrients are, I actually have a food chart in the tracker that I'm selling this week. This tracker, of course, will be available going forward, but I'm selling it 40% off this week as we talk about all these things. So you can track all of these habits we're talking about, but even there's a specific food chart there that could help you with. Today, we're talking about macronutrients and fitting in macronutrients. Okay, so if we want to focus on macronutrients, so let me tell you the role of the macronutrients. Something in my throat. Side note, I got this from our Tampa General Hospital. Shout out to them. When I was pregnant, when I was having my baby. And it's just, I have another water bottle that I use on an ongoing basis, but there's something about how easy it is to drink. The straw is just like, it's easy to drink. So the last few days I've just been using this because I'm like, it's so just easy to consume water. Water is another thing. I didn't even, maybe I should talk about 6. We're going to talk about water actually. We are going to talk about water. It's a bonus. I always give you a bonus part. We're going to talk about water. But focus on macronutrients. Okay, so what are they? Carbs, proteins, fats. So proteins, at the end of the day, they are designed to not just build muscles, ladies, but to build and really support the growth of your internal structures. Okay, and so protein is so essential for your body just being able to be built and be healthy, your cells, all of that. It's a building block. And there's a bunch of, they break down into amino acids. There's a bunch of other essential amino acids, all that sort of stuff. And we don't have to get into the science and the nitty gritty. I think most people, we just need to start with getting more protein. So don't be afraid of it. But also don't overdo it. Just don't eat like steak all the time in huge quantities and not eat your veggies, right? I love protein. I am a protein loving girl. I mean, I have a group of friends where when we get together, it's like the guys would like love the ribs and like the barbecue, and I'm like, I'm down. I don't really need a lot of sweets. I just give me some meat. I love it. And so they make fun of me for that, but I love protein. And so protein is very important. Now you can get it from multiple sources. I have a food chart, remember, in my tracker that you could look at, but I mean, there is chicken, there's eggs, there's pork, there's beef, there's if you're a vegetarian, I mean, beans and soy stuff, I'll also have that. But if you do eat meat, I would suggest kind of going towards a lean, we can talk about quality in a bit, but a good quality source of if you're eating animal protein. But there's tons of other ways. So we want to make sure we're getting protein. Carbohydrates, it's really important that you eat carbs. So I think carbs and fats have gotten a bad rap in the diets in the last like 50, 60 years because carbs, people think carbs are bad. Your body needs carbohydrates. It's how much and it's where the form that the carbohydrate takes. So we have simplified carbohydrates, we have processed carbohydrates, all of those. One second, I've got a notification that I need to answer. We have all of those, a lot of the processed refined stuff that just, what they do in your body is you eat it and it's a quick burst of energy actually, but then it gives you a crash. So at the end of the day, we need carbohydrates as fuel for our body, for our cells, for our mind, all those things. But the source of the carbohydrates, we want to go towards more whole food sources. So vegetables are a carb. Now, some of them might have low carbs, like the grains and stuff. So you can kind of like, a lot of people say they're like 0 carbs. Like, you can just eat a lot of those. But then we have more so like starchy carbs that provide a lot of nutrients, but they have more serving of carbohydrates per gram. And so if you want to see what the breakdown is in that, you could definitely check out my food chart. It has that list there. But you know, your starchy carbs tend to be like your potatoes, your plantain, your yuca, your pumpkins, your squashes, that sort of stuff. And so actually my meals tend to have a more of a vegetable that's lower in carb, like the green, and then a higher carb, like the plantain, and then protein and fat. That's typically what, or I'll have a banana or fruit or some sort, or oatmeal as that kind of starchy carb. I tend to always have some sort of a starchy carb at a meal, and then try to have a non-starchy one. So that's the importance of that. Again, there's a variety of sources: vegetables, starchy carb vegetables. I mean, even carbs could, like good whole grain, if you're gonna have like whole grains or those sort of stuff. You want, you know, oh, I try to advocate for non-gluten grains because gluten just has been known to cause different issues in people's gut. Not everyone, but you know, you have like quinoa, you have couscous, you have you know, oatmeal, that sort of stuff. But again, I have a list of some of those, what the example of what that might be in the tracker that I'm selling for only $17. All right. And then fats. Ladies, we need fat. Actually, as women, we hold more fat on our bodies than men. And that's just the way it is. And as someone who's just had a child and gained fat, obviously, to have a child, and still has some of that in order to feed that child, I'm just seeing the importance of having fat on my body, right? So fat is not bad. Obviously, we want to monitor how much fat we have, one, on our body, but how much fat we eat. Our body needs fat to transport nutrients in our body. Our body needs fat. Our brain is like jelly-like, fat-like. Our hormones need fat in order to operate. Like, we don't need a lot of it, but we need some of it. And so you need to consume that fat as well. So good food sources are avocados, olives, coconut products, kind of those unsaturated fats. Nuts. And you want to make sure when you're eating nuts, by the way, try not to get nuts cooked in fried oils. We want to have nuts that are kind of raw, because you're getting it in its most natural form. All right, so focusing on macronutrients and figuring out how to balance your meal with all three is very important. That's something that I love helping clients through. That's also something that you could kind of work on your own in a do-it-yourself way through the template that I provided in the food chart tracker. But also I'll be talking a lot more about this in the summit coming up, which you'll learn more about next week. But this is something I love helping clients with, is learning how to balance their plate. Then micronutrients. And so we want to focus on macronutrients, but we want to focus on micronutrients. And what I mean by that is vitamins and minerals at the end of the day. So we can get as complicated with this as we want. I don't want it to get complicated. I'm trying to make this super simple for you. But if you just choose to have a variety of vegetables and a variety of fruits with different colors and textures, I would say variety and colors, you're going to get in a variety of vitamins and minerals. Because what vitamins and minerals do, I'm going to make sure I pull up some notes I have on this. Or what micronutrients do. They're just essential elements required by us in small quantities to help our physiological functions. You've heard like certain vitamins are great for your eyes, certain vitamins are great for your skin, certain proteins are great for your skin, certain minerals are your body needs. All those things, it's actually important not just for our body to function, but for like specific things in our body to function. So we have, so vitamins at the end of the day play an essential role in controlling our body's metabolic processes and for growth and overall being. You have different types. You have water soluble, you have fat soluble. So that's why sometimes you'll hear eat things with food, eat things with water, but also it just helps boil it down. So you have vitamin A, D, E, and K, and you can get that from a variety of, guess what, whole food sources. Vitamin A you can find in eggs or leafy greens. Vitamin D you can find in eggs, oily fish, or meat. Vitamin K in eggs, liver, or milk. And just for an example, vitamin A we need for vision, growth, and development. Deficiencies can lead to poor vision and sometimes even blindness. Vitamin E, we need that to protect our cells and membranes and healthy skin. A deficiency can lead to poor immune system. We have B1, helps generate energy. You see a lot of people take B1 shots. Without it, you can have headaches and irritability. B5 is important for your metabolism and your neurotransmitters. B12, important for your metabolism and making red blood cells. Vitamin C helps growth and repair of various tissues as an antioxidant. And a deficiency in that could lead to poor wound healing. So you might be saying, Bree, my goal is just to lose weight. I don't care. Well, listen. I would rather you be very, very healthy and have a little extra weight on your body than lose weight and be actually malnourished. We think malnourishment, our lack of, malnourishment comes from people who just don't eat. We think it's in third world countries, but many of us are malnourished. Even if you have extra weight on you that you don't want to carry, you might be malnourished. And the key to losing that weight that lasts is making sure your body is getting what it needs so it can let go of what it doesn't need. Again, I'm going to say that again. We want to make sure our body gets what it needs so it can let go of what it doesn't need. Your body may be in fight or flight mode, survival mode. It's holding on to fat. It's holding on to weight because you're not sleeping enough, because you're not giving the right nourishment. You're not moving enough. So it's like, I'm just going to hold this on. So just in case something doesn't happen, because she kind of skips out on her eating, or she eats too much. So I just want to store whatever. Your body is smarter than you and your body knows what it needs. And so I really want to see you nourish your body. I have a master class that I offer clients called Nourishing Your Body with Food that breaks down the history of diets, breakdowns macronutrients, micronutrients. That's what I'm reading from right now. And it really breaks it down, the importance of getting all of this. About you understanding why and not just how. Because when you understand why, the how is going to be a lot better and a lot easier to do. All right. And so that's just some vitamins. Now, minerals. What is a mineral? A mineral is an inorganic substance that comes, it's not naturally occurring in foods or rocks or different things in the world, in the earth. And plants tend to absorb these in their tissues through their roots. And so that's why you hear, like, often you want to make sure your plants have good soil because it's absorbing those minerals. You have macro minerals and trace minerals. Your macro minerals are minerals our bodies need in large amounts, and trace minerals are things that our body needs only in small amounts. I'm spending a lot of time in micronutrients because I think I've talked a lot about macronutrients and a lot of people know about those, but I really want you to, again, to think through how we can nourish our body with food. So our body needs stuff like magnesium. Magnesium can come from whole grains, leafy grains, and nuts. It could also be found in bones, in our bones and in our cells, and it's needed for our immune system and muscles and nerve health. Without it, we can have muscle problems and even vomiting. Potassium, you can get it in milk, broccoli, and bananas. It is involved in muscle and nerve activity and in fluid balance. Without it, maybe muscle cramps or more. We have iron, red meat, egg yolk, leafy greens. These are whole food sources, guys. And it allows your red blood cells to get oxygen and helps with energy production. Without it, you have anemia. Zinc, whole grain, shellfish, red meat, forms part of the many enzymes in our body that help our body function normally. Without it, you can actually have diarrhea or pneumonia. So those are a few. Those are the trace minerals, right? How are your micronutrients doing? You could do, I have this 7-week challenge that goes along with this masterclass where, like, your challenge is actually to see what macronutrients and micronutrients you're consuming. If that's too detailed for you, literally just, again, do some variety and colors and try to have an array of fruits and vegetables and whole food sources every day, and you're going to get some more nutrients. Okay, we don't want to just rely on the supplements. Supplements and vitamins are important because even the foods we eat, sometimes maybe they're deficient in something, even though it says it has a lot. That's where vitamins and nutrients come in, like extra vitamins, but we want to make sure that our body is actually getting it from those whole food sources. I didn't even mention fiber, but fiber is also very important. Okay. Quality. So quality is also important, and you'll hear a lot of things like grass-fed, free range, cage-free. I could always send you some information if you're wanting to figure out what each of those things mean. But basically, local, are we going to get it from organic, inorganic, conventionally made, or local from a farm? All of those things are very important. I actually did an episode with on the podcast. I've done many around them around toxins. I have a course talking just about food and the different toxins and how to, detoxify our food and to get high quality. But also I did a podcast with Janice Carr on how to grow your own food. Maybe you're like, I don't know how to grow my own food. Well, she gives you some simple tips on how you can grow your own food. If you're interested in that, let me know. So quality is also important, okay? And then the fourth one is eating what's best for you and your body. But this comes from experimentation. And this is where where we, the school I went to talked about bio-individuality. This is where we become bio-individuals. And what I mean by that is that everyone's body is different. And so what works for you and that gives your body energy and life may be different for me. And that's why I love taking people through different things to help them see this is, okay, and that's where the food journal actually comes in. Oh my goodness, the food journal in this tracker. Because the food journal will help you identify not just emotionally how you were feeling before and after you ate, but it will also help you identify physically. Did your body physically feel well after you ate something? And I remember doing this with my first client nearly, 5 years ago at this point. And she just realized that every time she ate a lot of grains and gluten, she had headaches and stomach aches. But she wouldn't have known that if she didn't isolate that and see and track that. And now she knows, not that she was sensitive. There's different being sensitive and you just can't have. Now she knows that like every time she eats that, she might feel a certain way. Right, and the same thing with me. I know I haven't had dairy in 7 months. Dairy never really did well with me, but I was able to see that. I had a little bit of it during pregnancy, but obviously kids may react well at this stage, breastfeeding to dairy. But I'm doing fine without it. I have my coconut milk ice cream, all that sort of stuff. Gluten, I know I have a little irritability, so I know that when I eat too much of it, I'm like, oh, I'm fine. But then it's like, oh, you got to stop eating gluten. So that's what I know. I know that, right? So I know what works for me because I've been listening to my body. And if you're curious on what works for you, this food tracker is going to be great for you. And then 5, spice it up and have fun. I think when you're first starting, you want to figure out a few meals that you can keep doing that kind of meet all these requirements. But you want to spice it up. Maybe you're going to try a new recipe a week, maybe a new place, a new healthy food place, a new meal from a place, or every other week. But spice it up, add a variety, because healthy eating can be fun. One of the saddest things is when I hear people say, if I'm going to eat healthy, it's going to take all the fun out of it. That's not true. I enjoy foods. And whenever I'm getting bored, I'm like, it's time to spice it up. It's time to spice it up. Okay. So I would love to just see you spice it up. And there's many ways to do this. I offer my clients over 150 plus recipes in the course database that I have that they can go to. Snack ideas, lunch ideas, dinner, breakfast, dessert ideas that could spice it up. And you can have a one-stop shop, and they're all whole food based. All right. And then the last thing is water. And so I'm going to bring up some notes around water. And I'm going to just share why particularly water is important. So our body is 60 to 70% water. As adults decrease, we may have a decrease in that amount of water. So as adults decrease, as adults age, and but kids have a high amount, right? They need quite a bit of water. We continually lose water through urination, we sweat, even through breathing, and just various processes in our body each day. And so we need to replenish that. It's not something your body can make on its own. So some of the benefits of hydration: you keep your skin healthy and plump and elastic. It regulates your body temperature, ensures your kidneys filter out waste. It's vital for brain function, moistens your eye, allows your blood to flow easily, aids in digestion. But some consequences of dehydration are decreased attention and memory, dry eyes, low blood pressure, lightheadedness, constipation, concentrated urine, and actually, you might be holding on to weight. Your body needs that water to just do the systems that it needs to do. And so how much water depends, but I usually say just recommend half your body weight in water. But if that's too much, obviously, for you, you kind of just try to do 100 ounces and work up to it. And in the tracker, Sweet friends, in the tracker, I made this super easy for you guys. In the tracker, you actually track your water, and you can build up with it over time. And this is something I help clients do in the boot camp we do. We build up, all right, you're having 2 liters a day. Maybe you want to go to 3 or whatever, right? And so water is very important that we're drinking. And there's tons of different apps that could help you with this and with all of this. There's tons of different apps. If you're like an app person, you can track all of this that we're talking about. But my tracker, simple spreadsheet tracker, is really going to support you. And it's only $17 this week. It's going to go up to $27 after on Saturday. Okay, so that is the 6 different tips I have for you on diet-free eating, focusing on macronutrients, your carbs, your proteins, and your fat from whole food sources. I have a food chart in the tracker that can help you. Focusing on micronutrients through variety and colors. Focusing on quality, where are you sourcing it from, what's on your food. Eating what's best for you, doing some experimentation, using the food journal in the tracker to really support you and really seeing how certain foods impact you. Spice it up and have fun. You can just mix and match the meals, try one new meal a week. I have tons of recipes that I do offer clients from that. And then drinking water, which is something you can track. So of these, I mean, I have the tracker can help you with like 4 or 5 of these, right? So if you have not grabbed your tracker, it's only $17 this week. And you can just, you go to the page, madewell345.com/habits tracker, and I'll explain all the benefits of grabbing this tracker. But you can track most of the things that we're eating here through this tracker. Really figure out how you can eat diet-free and get the results you want in this new year. And again, it's a taste of a larger tracker and program I do, but you can still do that. And I'm also, guys, offering a couple mini sessions, New Year's health, weight loss breakthrough calls in the next couple weeks. And so those are complimentary. So if you haven't grabbed one of those calls yet, be sure to go to the link here, madewell345.com/strategy, and book a time in my calendar. There's only limited spots in these next couple weeks. I have a lot going on, so I've only opened up a couple spots. So grab the tracker, $17, and grab a session. This session is worth like $90-something on its own that I'm offering you, a couple people for free. And of course, if you're interested in getting long-term support, I do have a couple client spots open, but we can always talk about that on the free session too. So just hop on a free session, buy the tracker, and let's be diet-free and eat diet-free together. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna see if there are any comments or questions. I can't see right now, but I don't think there's any right now. I don't know, Facebook's acting weird. Anyways, I'll jump in if there are later. Feel free to watch the replay. Let me know any questions you have. Which one of these 6 tips are you gonna work on? Maybe we're just starting with one. Maybe it's water, maybe it's variety in foods, having fun, micronutrients, macronutrients, quality, all that. Let me know. All right, have a good one, and I will see you tomorrow. It won't be at 12 p.m. I think it's around 3 p.m. just to have something at 12 to talk about joyful movement.